Hi, I'm Candice. Today we're going to talk about the adrenal glands because they have a huge influence on your energy levels, your mood, your sleep, your hormones and your overall health and feeling of well-being. The adrenals can often be the root of ongoing health struggles. So if we really want to heal, we need to understand what they do, what weakens them and how we can support them to recover. Who am I? I'm Candice Looper. I'm a naturopathic kinesiologist and I work with people around the world to guide them on how to heal their chronic illness and mystery symptoms, fatigue and emotional challenges. I use medical medium information, nutrition, supplements, herbs, NLP, coaching, hypnotherapy, and I help people find success on the healing journey. In this series of videos, I'm going to be simplifying the medical medium information to make it as easy as possible for you to understand. I want to give full credit to Anthony William, Medical Medium, as the original source of this information. My role here is just to make it clearer, practical and accessible and add in some of my own insights from working with clients. So let's dive in. So what are the adrenals? Your adrenal glands are two tiny organs that sit on top of your kidneys. They're part of your endocrine system and they work with your thyroid, your pancreas, your reproductive hormones to keep your whole body balanced. So they regulate blood pressure, fluid and salt balance, metabolism, energy, immune function, and they play a part in producing hormone precursors to estrogen and testosterone. So on a moment-to-moment basis, your adrenals are constantly adjusting hormone outputs to help keep you going. The adrenals provide the get up and go when we need it. They help us respond to stress by producing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which help you respond to stressful or dangerous situations. So cortisol raises blood sugar to give us fuel, while adrenaline gives us those quick bursts of emergency energy so that we can respond to danger through the classic fight or flight response. And in emergencies, they act like your body's backup battery and alarm system. So they give you a burst of survival energy. They're always coming to our rescue. So if your blood sugar drops because, for example, you haven't eaten enough or your liver isn't storing enough glycogen, which is how we store fuel, then your adrenals will pump out adrenaline to give you a burst of energy instead. Same with the thyroid. If your thyroid is underperforming, it will step in and provide extra energy. But the problem is in today's world, those emergency hormones are being called on far too often, and many of us are draining our adrenal energy. So what weakens our adrenals? So our adrenals were designed to help us respond to rare life or death situations, but modern life has us running on overdrive. So we're triggering them into action every single day. So there's the day-to-day pressures of work, of family demands, social media, money worries, or all our days are endlessly busy, aren't they? And then the late nights, and then we're running on caffeine and feeding ourselves bad, fatty processed foods. But also, adrenal hormones at times feel good. The right concoction of adrenal hormones gives you an extra burst of energy and it feels good. It makes us feel more upbeat. It's why people are driven to risk, to extreme sports, to danger. Is that rush of feel-good energy that you get after jumping into freezing cold water, whilst your poor adrenals are working really hard to protect all your organs and maintain homeostasis. So that means it can be really hard to tell what's good for us if we don't understand the adrenals. Adrenaline is not a true energy, it's an emergency hormone. So it might get you through a difficult moment or give you a burst of energy when you need it, but eventually it's going to leave you more depleted because the adrenals can get weak over time. So the adrenals keep stepping in and giving you energy that you don't really have, but over time they start to become weak. And when they become weak, they start behaving erratically. And when they're erratic, that means that you're not getting the right blend of hormones that you need at the right time. So you get too much sometimes and not enough other times. So that might be why you find yourself wired in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, or absolutely flatlined at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, unable to get anything done because you're not getting the right chemicals that you need. People are leaning so heavily on caffeine and other stimulants. They're trying to replace on an unconscious basis the lost adrenal energy, but they're borrowing energy that was meant for emergencies. Natural energy feels stable and consistent. It doesn't come in rushes of highs and lows. Adrenalized energy is more of a rush. I find it can have a bit of a jittery feeling. You know, think of how you feel when you've had 2 shots of espresso. Or it can be that kind of really subtle feeling of just being alert, but at the wrong time, so in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep. I can tell when my clients turn up and they're adrenalized because they're speaking at twice the normal speed and it's obvious that they're adrenalized. And then people also running on the adrenals for pleasure too. It's like, oh, poor adrenals never get a chance to switch off. But then when the really bad times hit, perhaps a bereavement, perhaps a big change of job or house move or a relationship loss, it's those times when we're pushed to extremes emotionally and physically, and our adrenals may just not have the strength to get us through, and that's where there can be a major collapse. So like with anything, there's a scale of impacts, but let's now go through some of the symptoms of imbalance, and you can identify if your adrenals are imbalanced and how much so. So any symptom can have multiple causes, but here are some of the common signs that your adrenals are out of balance or underperforming. So your energy and sleep might be affected. So you might be very tired, you might feel heavy, you might have that insomnia where you're wide awake at night, or especially if you're waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. when your liver's overburdened and your adrenals are stepping in. You might sleep really well, but then be exhausted in the morning. You might feel weak. You might feel tired, fatigue. You might feel like you're crashing in the middle of the day. You might be tired all day long and then suddenly wake up in the evening. Excess adrenaline can deplete your brain of important neurochemicals, which can leave you feeling low or depressed. So also look out for anxiety, irritability, mood swings, feeling like you're not motivated. Things like postnatal depression is often traced back to adrenal depletion from pregnancy and birth and caring for the baby. Your body has to produce a really extreme form of adrenaline to push the baby out, and so that can deplete you. When adrenaline is running high, the thinking brain shuts down, and that's because you need to make a quick decision, right, when you're in danger. You don't want to be sitting there analysing the options when the lion is running towards you. So instead, the blood goes to the limbs and actually helps you to take action to fight or run or freeze. So that's one of the reasons why you might experience brain fog and poor concentration. And physical symptoms, hair loss is a classical one for women. Thinning of the hair, especially the very, very short hair around the temples. You suddenly feel like you've lost your sex drive. That's a classic sign, especially in women and men too. Dizziness when standing up, thirst or a dry mouth that you can't quite quench, and that's because the adrenaline has burned out the electrolytes in your blood. Excess sweating with very light effort. Blurry vision, difficulty focusing, and that's because cortisol can dehydrate the body, including the eyes. Shakiness, sensitivity to noise. Cravings for caffeine, for sugar, for salty or fatty foods, because instinctively you're searching for something to replace your adrenal hormones which are diminished. The adrenals also play a huge role in menopause. So as the ovaries reduce their production of estrogen and progesterone, the adrenals are meant to take over some of this work, and if they're already depleted, the transition into menopause can feel much harder, with more hot flushes, mood swings, insomnia and anxiety.
So the adrenals kick into action to help us respond to danger by producing a surge of adrenal hormones, and this is completely natural. But if they're out of balance, then they might create a surge of adrenal hormones when they aren't really needed. So then you get symptoms of responding to danger when there is no danger at all.
You might feel your heart pumping fast or fluttering, your breathing getting shallower, your body becoming tense or frozen. You might feel anxious, overwhelmed, sweaty palms. Your stomach might also be affected with diarrhea or constipation. Your speech might be much faster than normal. Some people feel vibrations all over, or like a buzzy, dizzy or trembling feeling. You might get a wave of heat That's because the brain can get really hot from adrenaline surges. Some people's body will completely tighten, and shakiness. When there's a lot of adrenaline racing around the system, for example, because there's been an event or a situation that's created a lot of fear, the body might start shaking, or the teeth might even start chattering. And this is a sign that there's so much adrenaline that the body is struggling to clear it. Because movement is a really good way of processing the adrenaline, the body then creates these shakes. So when you have adrenals that are inconsistent in their output of hormones, then that has an effect on other organs of the body. So for example, insulin production from the pancreas is going to be really inconsistent, and over time that's going to take us in the direction of type 2 diabetes. The nervous system is going to be more on edge, and over time more depleted, because it has to absorb all of that high energy adrenaline. The heart's going to have to pump harder, and the pancreas is working overtime. So you see that when the adrenals are behaving erratic, it puts a strain on the whole body. So we have to really get wise to what's affecting them and how to heal them. Let's recap on what causes the adrenals to become imbalanced. So 1, chronic stress and trauma. So when we're living with stressful situations like chronic overwork, loss, bereavement, or other crisis, our adrenals are going to be working overdrive to power us through and help us survive. If this has gone on a long time, your adrenals might become weakened from being in a constant state of overdrive. Trauma might leave our nervous system in a hypervigilant mode, pumping out adrenaline around the clock, leaving you wired, anxious, or drained, or creating the wrong blend of hormones for the occasion, so you don't have the energy to do what you need to do. Viruses. So I haven't really spoken about viruses yet, but viruses such as Epstein-Barr inflame the nervous system. They cause pain, they cause distress, and then that creates adrenaline. Now the thing to understand is that these viruses enjoy consuming adrenaline. It's their food source. So ultimately it's their aim to affect the nervous system and create that ongoing source of adrenaline. Also, viruses deplete other organs, such as the thyroid and the liver, so that forces the adrenals to step in and help more often. Heavy fatty meals, high fat food, even healthy fats, is really hard on the adrenals, and that's because when there's a lot of fat in the bloodstream, it's much harder for the blood to carry oxygen and glucose, and that would destabilize blood sugar and potentially cause harm to the heart, the pancreas, and the liver. So adrenaline is produced to thin the blood, and it also increases the heart rate to help that thick fatty blood move around the body easier. So you might get that little bit of feel-good feeling when you've had fatty comfort food, but it's short-lived, and again, in the long run, it's depleting you. Meat contains steroids because at the moment of death, the animal is flooded with adrenaline, and so when you eat a lot of meat regularly, you're actually running a bit off that adrenaline. Again, it might feel good, but that doesn't mean it actually is good for you. If we're lacking in minerals and glucose, we're then not getting the nutrients we need, and our blood sugar is being destabilized more often, and that means the adrenals have to keep coming in and rescuing us from blood sugar drops. So, and of course, stimulants. So coffee, green tea, black tea, chocolate, energy drinks, they all whip the adrenals into action when they're already exhausted. This creates highs and then deep crashes, and eventually it drains us of energy. So, tools for healing. The good news is your adrenals can heal, and often much faster than you'd expect.
So the adrenals need to be a priority when we're on the healing path. We never want to stress them out with techniques which create stress. Find ways to slow down, to just be. 5 minutes of resting your nerves or another meditation. Go for walks. Find some time to do nothing. No screens, no worries. Take yourself into nature. Ground yourself. Have that nap that you so desperately need. And it's really important to just lower your expectations about how much you need to achieve in a day, how much can be done in a day. Can you delegate or outsource some tasks? In terms of exercise, I really recommend doing gentle exercise, so walking and stretching, gentle yoga.
If you have weak adrenals, please don't be doing any intense workouts that stress the adrenals. So no hot yoga, no spinning, potentially not jumping around, running around. You really need to pay attention to when you're becoming adrenalized and respond quickly. Notice what that feeling is like in yourself, whether you're getting a racy heart or if you're speeding up, if you're feeling that feeling of stress, and just catch it early and find some space and time to calm down, because at that point you're flooding your body with adrenaline. It's about setting boundaries. It's about saying no to overcommitting yourself, and of course step back from harmful relationships which are causing you ongoing stress. It's really important to manage our strong emotions and do what you can quickly to lower your stress levels. So of course there's the mental psychological work involved there, to really think about what you're thinking and how those thoughts are creating the emotion, because those strong negative emotions also create a lot of adrenaline in the system. And then we need to think about our food and what we're consuming. Keep adding in glucose and mineral salts. They're essential. So we want lots of fruit and lots of leafy greens. Feed your adrenals with sodium, potassium and glucose. So you reach for the medical medium adrenal snacks. They're so important. There are lots of different combinations you can have, but celery, dates, apples, so easy to remember. You want the sodium, the potassium and the glucose, and that helps to stabilize the blood sugar and feed the adrenals. You absolutely need to be eating every 2 hours. You never want to let your blood sugar crash. Glucose is essential for protecting the brain from toxic, corrosive adrenaline, and it helps keep the brain cool. Reach for bananas, dates, figs, papaya, apples, and of course lots and lots of leafy greens. So particularly asparagus, kale, and steamed potatoes, which are really excellent for rebuilding our glycogen stores in the liver. Start your morning every day with celery juice. It hydrates, it restores mineral salts, and it calms the adrenals. Now, if you're actually in an adrenal episode and you notice that your adrenals are pumping, either you've had a really stressful day, week, month, year, then reach for the Adrenal Fight or Flight Stabilizer juice from Anthony Williams' books. You can also reach for orange juice or celery juice or spinach. You want to bring in the glucose and the minerals, which is essential for cooling the brain, calming the adrenals. And you want to lay down, maybe put a heating pad on your kidneys or on your belly, put an eye mask on, listen to soothing music perhaps, and just try and calm as much as you can and soothe yourself. So in terms of supplements, of course, you can refer back to the Medical Medium books, but here are some of the supplements that I use most commonly with the adrenal. Magnesium glycinate is deeply calming for the nervous system and the muscles. Vitamin B12, the two essential components, so methylcobalamin and adenocyclobalamine, are essential for nerve repair and producing energy. B complex, we want all the B vitamins. They support the neurotransmitters and hormone pathways. Vitamin C is highly concentrated in the adrenal glands, so that's needed for hormone production. Zinc for your immunity, your nervous system, adrenal repair. Licorice root also helps balance different hormones and stabilizes sodium and potassium balance. Lemon balm is lovely and calming for the nervous system and really lowers viral load as well. Nettle leaf restores minerals, brings strength, and ashwagandha is one of the most commonly used herbs in my practice. It really helps balance stress response. There are lots of other herbs that can help, and if we work together, I will test exactly what's going to be right for you. And of course, you can learn more from the Medical Medium books and audios. So the adrenals need to be supported at all times. When you look after them, everything in your body works better. Your energy, your mood, your hormones, your sleep. If your adrenals are depleted, you can recover. It takes a bit of time, but with consistent effort, doing the right things, you will start to see improvements. Many people notice improvements within a few weeks or months of just giving their adrenals the right support. If you'd like personalised healing protocol tailored to your own body, I'd love to help. I work with people all over the world, so if you'd like to schedule a session, just reach out. And please let me know how you're doing and what you've found to be most effective for supporting your adrenals. I really love to hear from you. I will be doing lots more of these Medical Medium Simplified videos, so please subscribe to my channel to be notified of my videos when they come out. Best wishes and see you soon.